Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so today we're just gonna go through more hooks and that's what we're gonna end the these exercises which you all can do yourselves. But today we're just going to see if we can finish this. Then that'll be the end of this track. I don't know whether we're meant to do something else, but I'll ask Isel and get back to you. But today just like the last class of teaching, sure. You can finish this. So okay. But looking at use context now. We actually use context. That context is a way to manage states globally, and it can be used together with the use state hook to share state within deeply nested components more easily than with use state alone. The problem states should be held by the highest clearance component in the stack that requires access to the state. She illustrates we have many nested components and the components at the top and bottom of the stack needs to access states. To do this without context, you need to pass the states as props to each component, and this called props drilling. Okay, what you're trying to see is that that context was created to solve the problem of props drilling, basically. And prop drilling is when like you keep on pressing props down and down and down and down and down into states. So like you're drilling a hole. So remember, normally when you want to pass a Moscow data between two states, like from the parent state to child state, you use the props where you just do my notes word. Um, this this one, this one. Where you just do like let's say we have a component car, they can just be like car and then passing brand equals to whatever brand wants passing and then close your component. So if you now have like um a top level component, the one that this component inside, this component they want to pass in brand to another component inside, but you only have brand in the top level components. You have to like keep on passing and passing and passing and passing and passing the props like that. And that's not really practical, that's not really good. So Moscow use context was created for that. And what use context just does is that it manages states globally. So you create your states globally somewhere and you can pass it down through it. And what you just have to do is you just have to put the use context of this thing. I thought in the Moscow tag for use context, shall look at it on the topmost place where you want to access the context, then you can use it anywhere in your projects. Anywhere in your project, like anywhere in the children in generational or Moscow components without needing to put them as props. So or to pass them as props. So they're just showing us an example here. Passing through props, you can see they want to get components soon and they want to passing user in this component. So the passing user here from component 1 to component 2 and component 6 passing user to component 3, component 3 passing user to component 4, and it goes on like that in square round. So the solution was to create use context, and use context is an import creates context, then initialize it by creating a context, that's user context, then you create a provider. So you your provider represents one provider user context dot provider and the value you want to provide throughout your program, and then create your this thing. Then you use the use context hook to use it. So yeah, so we just import our use context and anyway we want to use it, we just and import our user context also. So we just use the context. So you can see component 5 here. You can just use const user equals to use context and use context and specify the context we're using and which is user. So we'll be able to use it here. So let's look at the full example. Yeah. So
I'm so sorry. Good morning. I'm so sorry. Hello.
yeah,
I've just been able to like get connected though. Like it has been fizzing out since, so I'm sorry. I didn't get a single thing since.
okay. Okay, I'll go through it again.
Thank you very much.
I'll go through it again. So yeah, so we're looking at use context, right? It's a type of hook. Yeah, it's a type of hook. And what the problem use context solves is the problem of props drilling. And if you know prop drilling is just passing of props down and down from what's called a parent component to generational component like generation downwards like child, grandchild, great grandchild, and so on. Which is not actually right. Like that's what it's called prop drilling. So this is an example of prop drilling when we have this value or this data in component one and we want to pass it down to component five. But because component five is inside of these components, you have to pass it down to everything. So you keep on passing to component two, then component two passes component three, then component three passes component four before it reaches component five. So a solution was created for this, and the solution is almost called use context. And what use context just does is it provides the context on a general scale. Like so instead of you drilling it, you can just access it from use context and use it will provide this context in the in the global global scope. So instead of you like passing it to props drilling, you can just access it from the global scope of context and just use it. Or the particular context you're using and just use it. So to create a use context, what you just do is you import create context in React and create set the context in the particular context you want to create for the particular purpose you want to create. So for instance, now by using user, like we want to create a context for user. So we'll just create user context. Then next you create the provider. And if the job of the provider is to provide, just like it says. So the provider is just like a function component that returns is provider just a function component sure, that returns almost called value. So it has a use state in it and user set user to your default value sure. Then to use your provider, you specify the context you want to use, then those provider, then the value you want to pass in globally throughout the app. Then you can put whatever you want to use inside it. So to use context, and you have to put the parent element. Like if you want to use context in component five, I'm saying five, so we can release it so that five has a parent, four has a parent, three has a parent, two has a parent, one. If you want to use context in component five, you have to pass in this provider, like wrap at least component four in this provider. So that's just how it is. But you can wrap anyone ahead of it. So if you want to use context if you wrap component one, which is the context will be available to components two, three, four, five, and no matter of when you go six, seven, eight. But once you wrap component three with the provider and you didn't wrap component one or whatever, component two will not be able to access the value. Components one will not be able to access the value, but any components that is a child of components three will be able to access the value. Yeah. So yeah, so once you just create the provider, then you use the use context to access your data. So just use context and use context, you import use context from React, then use context and specify the type of context you want to use. You just see the value as this. You can use that this constructor method again. Yeah, you can use that if you are like returning various values. So you can see this component 5, you just use use context to get data and data user and just use directly here. So do you understand that?
Okay, I think I get the idea now. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. I know now. So now we want to look at an example over here. So yeah, this in this example, it just basically what he said earlier, and yeah, just basically what he said earlier. So we have a Moscow. We want to change the state of, we want to use a particular value and the app and various components or in a particular component. So firstly, what we did was we imported create context and we created our context and stored it as a particular context we want to use. That's user context using create context. Then after that, we created a provider and using use context as provider, user context as provider. And note this can be any variable, can be any depending on what you want to use, what you want to create context for. So this is for user context as provider, then the value you want to pass in user, since user is your own person user, and it's accessible to every component. You know, every component that is a child of generational what's called listing of component one. So you can see you don't need to pass proofs through them again as component five. You can just access it by importing use context and just using the context. So you import use context and specify the type of context you want to use and data what this value that we kept here. And that's what we're just getting back from here. But you can use this constructor method if you're getting like more than one value. So that just is basically, yeah. So does anyone have any question on this?
I'm sorry. So the idea of use context now is I'm just putting out there is that it's for when I want to pass that props through children elements, right? But then we don't have to keep nesting the props by passing it down from components 1, 2, 3, 4 till we get to where we want to get to. We just need to use the use context hook at the top level components, and then we can use it anywhere else in the children elements. Is that it?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, thank
So
you.
use
Thank you very
context to
much.
just make, yeah, yeah, sure. You just make the props or data available for all the children elements of that particular component.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
So
sorry to stop. What if there are like different elements except from children? Is it only works for children components, right? If there are two
yeah,
separate
only for
components
children
that
component.
don't, if there are two separate components that don't depend on each other, like are not nested together, just separately, can it work for them or is only for children components?
You know, if there are two components that are not necessarily like sibling components, you put it in the component above those two siblings.
Okay. Okay.
Do you get?
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, sure. So the next stuff we're going to use, we're going to look at now. We're going to look at these guys and hardly use them, but we'll just take a look at them, sure. So React useref. So useref hook allows, okay, I used to useref. Useref hook allows you to persist values between renders and it can be used to store mutable values that does not cause render when updated. It can be used to access DOM methods directly. So what they're saying that useref just allows you to store data that almost go between re-render because useref don't like re-render. So as we're going down, we shall look at NCs more and just look into more listening about it. So does not cause re-renders. Okay, so if we try to count how many times our application renders using use states, will be caught in an infinite loop. Okay, since the hook itself forces a render. To avoid this, we use ref. Okay, this is an example. We use ref to track application renders. So what this is just doing is just tracking how many times the application renders using use ref. So we'll get into this shell, but use ref returns a value called an object with a value inside its called current. So we'll get to that one shell. So yeah, okay, we're already there also. So we can see that we created this state, or they created this state, use state over here. Then to track how many times the application renders, they created a use ref, because use ref does not render. So on every render, the state of the use ref will still be the same, and can update as we want it. So the music use effects to track it. But I also want to answer that. Mhm.
Sorry, what do you say?
Isaac,
Okay.
yeah, I also want to answer something. Isaac, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm with you. I can hear you.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. So please, can you tell me what this use effect does? Like, forget, forget this stuff. Forget what's inside here. Just tell me it does this when this happens. Just tell me what this use effect does.
I honestly don't know.
Okay, cool. That's fine, man. That's fine. So, use effect has like, how do I put it? Like three main states, yeah, like three main possible capabilities. So the first one, let me copy this to my notepad. Use effect has three main possible capabilities. I'm bring this nigga down. So the first one is when you don't have any dependency array. So on a normal day, use effect is just like this. How to declare a use effect. So we have our function, whatever I want to do, and we have our dependency array. So on a normal day or Moscow, when there is no dependency array like this one, you can see solely our function that is here.
Mm.
When there's no dependency array, whatever is inside this use effect works on every render. Like it gets almost score one and on every render. Or when there's an empty dependency array like this, it works on the first render. And whenever there's a data in the dependency array, let's say data is brand, it works only when that data has changed on the first render and when the data has changed. So that just basically, so it has two, like three main stuff. When there is no dependency array, when there's an empty dependency array, and when there's a dependency array, it's values inside it. That's basically. So for this use effects, what we're saying is every time um this application renders, we want to increase current of this use ref of this count shall restore the user second. So we want to increase it by one. So we're incrementing it by one. So yeah, I'll display it here. So let's check it out. So you can see that on every this thing, on every input, our page renders. Most of these state causes our page to render. On every input, our page renders. But then you can see that for use states, when our page is rendering here, but when our page is rendering, like we have to now quickly save like the current value of whatever is here inside the states. So it's like our page renders and the value is now everything that is here. But for use ref, the value just keeps increasing on its own. Like it says the previous value, then increases it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 I get you.
Yeah. So use ref only returns one item. It returns an object called current. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And you can see we're accessing current from here, right? Increasing current. So that's the only item use ref returns. And when we initialize use ref, we use the initial value use ref 0. So what this is just doing is setting current to 0. So like cons count, they're just explaining what's happened here. Sorry, yeah. It's just like cons count equals to current and obviously current as a key and 0 as value. And we can access the object account by using counts those currents. And that just basically. So accessing the elements. In general, once let React handle all the manipulation, but there are some instances where useref can be used without causing issues. In React, we can add a ref attribute to an element to access it directly in the DOM. And this just the way to use it. Like, and this is an example. Use useref to focus the input. So let me show what I'm doing here. Okay. So what I'm doing here is input elements, input occurrence to focus. Okay, so what I'm doing here is that using use ref to focus on the particular input that you have now. To focus on these inputs here. So we see we created a use ref on input elements, and yeah, we created a use ref on input elements, and we created a function to manipulate or to change the state of that of the current in the use ref. So what we're just doing is the reference, like what this use ref is almost called what there is now. The reference to this use ref is this input element. So whenever this function is being run, this will affect this. Like this will focus, since this is the reference to this use ref. So once I infuse this, I press focus infuse, you can see that this particular element is focused. That is basically
Sorry,
this particular element is focused. Yeah.
sorry. Oh, sorry. It's just that use ref. I think is my favorite hook. So I need to point out something. Sorry. Apparently, use ref is just the you know that the major thing with React is SPA now, like trying to use is using just the virtual DOM without having to access the using the major DOM. That's in JavaScript, that's document.query selector and get. Use ref is just the factual way of doing that. What I understood from it like earlier. So instead of like for example, now this input element now, instead of using the onChange, where we now have to put a function and then give it value of and like make a state that will now initialize it with useref, we just have to call useref, define like you get define the name of the reference, which is that const input element equals to useref, then access that on the inputs which you want to work on. And that's just, I don't know if you get my point.
Yeah, cool. Are you a laptop?
Yes, but I can't share my screen. It's a
Yes.
very low end laptop. If I try sharing my screen, I have to hang and everything.
Oh,
Well, I've used it like a lot. That's why the input.current is just so you can assess where the use ref is currently. You can use dot focus,
yeah.
you can use dots value, you can use a lot of things with it. It's just like when we're using document.query selector in vanilla JavaScript to access
Yeah.
a particular input. That's just what use ref is. Instead of the traditional way of doing input this thing is to use that onChange button. unchanged, then the id is equals to, we now set the input to whatever, you understand. But with useref, you don't have to go through all those. And with useref, it's easier if you have multiple inputs. You don't have to do constant unchanged. You get, you can just create one useref, and then maybe I'll see if I can make a video or something and show. If I can, I'll try. But that useref is just basically the virtual way of doing the query selector.
Okay, so like if you want to almost update inputs down, you won't use focus because focus is to focus on that particular element. So you use something
if you want to update, you change that focus, that dot to dot value, so to access the value of that input element. You get?
Okay. Yeah.
That's just.
Okay, so this one you just do. Yeah, thanks, man. So you can just like you say you can create a video of it.
Yeah, I would try. Or the last this thing we did, I think I used it. The last assignment we did. Or maybe I could share you a project where we did form validation. I used useref a lot. Maybe I could just share you. I have it on Vercel. Maybe you could just go through it. I don't know.
Yeah, you can share it to the group.
Okay.
Share it to the group.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. This over here now.
Yes, it's over here.
Yeah. So you can just share it to the group and so everyone will check it out also.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that.
Thanks. Yeah. So yeah, so we have stated stated everything already. So that was just what we're about to look into next. Tracking state changes, but Obi has already done the good work in explaining that already. So we can use rep to keep track of the previous state values, and this is because we are able to persist use rep between renders. So like we said, unlike using use states where you are like changing everything, all the states, what use rep just does is like must go see the previous values, and anything you want to do, you can add or remove or manipulate that previous value. So change everything at once. So you can see over here in this example. I think they're just comparing use state and use ref. So the traditional way of setting inputs is set input value, then no. Current input value. Wait, Ove.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Do you use this with use states also? Like when
No.
use ref?
No, I don't. No, you don't have to use this. I think they are trying to talk about the render in this place to show the difference between when the current value, how many times it renders with use effect, and how it renders with use ref. I think that's what they're trying to do. Yeah, I think maybe if we go down further, we'll see a different use or something. I've not tried use W3 schools before.
Oh, they're just like trying to compare Moscow. I think what you're trying to do here is just like show the difference between
how to the render, the difference between rendering.
Yeah. So let's check it out. Okay, so what I was trying to tell us here is that useref actually like stores the previous value and in this loss current, and on every render it changes. While use state like just stores the current value. Like immediately you just make your change or whatever you want to do. It just changes everything immediately. That's what I'm just trying to show you. Confidence. Do you have any question on this?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'll still have to like go through it.
Oh, exactly. I'm so lost.
I hardly use this, right? But we use it a lot. But if you have a question, like you can ask, and I think I can practice it today since it's like our last class. So like in the group, any questions anybody have, like I'll be
This is the
glad to
last
answer
class.
the question. Yes, no.
Are you serious?
Yes, so I'm
Oh my
basically
god.
done with everything.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Or I can just do reducer, then in on Saturday we just do this last three.
Yes,
So
yes.
use
Please,
reducer.
just do that first. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So use reducer.
Is it my network or is Danny's network? Because I can't hear anything anymore.
I was going to ask the same. I think it's his network
Ah,
because he's on the
okay,
call.
okay. Okay. Maybe we should wait a little.